Hello, friends and fellow photographers. This is Caralee with Caralee Case Photography, and today I wanted to show you how to make a digital composite image. So, a digital composite is where you take a digital backdrop, like this one, and add your own photo to then create a beautiful, unique piece of art that you can add to your client galleries or to the product options that you offer. It really can be quick and easy, and I would just love to show you that today. So I'm going to click on the image that I would like to have in my digital composite and drag it over. I'm going to then change the opacity of my picture to 50% and begin resizing. As you resize, make sure to hold down the Shift key or make sure this infinity symbol is pressed so that as you change your image, it will maintain its ratio and nothing can get stretched or distorted in any way at all. So I have it at 50% so I can see certain things that I'm looking for. For example, leg room. I don't want the edge of his leg to come and hit the bucket or hit any of these shadows that are here on the digital image. Headroom, same thing. I don't want the bonnet to hit the ledge here. It just makes for a less realistic looking photo. So I'm going to make sure I have headroom and that I have leg room, and I love that his ear is coming over the bucket here. That is a fun detail that will make it look even more realistic. So let me just finish the sizing on him. Get him a tiny bit more leg room. Let's see, headroom looks good. I'm going to double click to commit to that change that I just made, and then up the opacity of my image to 100%. So with everything in editing, there are 1,000 ways to do the same thing. There's really not a right way or a wrong way to put together a digital composite. It's just whatever works for you, whatever makes sense, and whatever is the easiest. So I'm going to show you two of my favorite ways to get this photo put together that are simple, quick, and easy. And they both begin by adding a layer mask to my image. So we have a white layer mask, and I will grab a black, big, fluffy brush, and basically I'm just going to erase parts of my photo that I do not need for the composite. Basically just did a quick outline, big brush strokes to get rid of the rest of it. And there, that's like a quick drop and brush, no detail work done. This is great if you want to just create the example for the gallery. You don't want to spend time doing custom brush work or custom shadow work for a composite if the client isn't going to purchase that image. So you can easily put these together with the quick brushing for the gallery, and then if they purchase it, you can zoom in there and make everything completely perfect. So that's one way. Once you get him basically in there, then you would zoom in and do your fine detail brushing to make sure that this ear is all the way in focus and that the blending from the fur on my baby to the fur in the digital image is nice and smooth. So that is one way, and I will show you the other way, which I think actually works better for this particular photo. It still has a white layer mask. This time I'm going to grab the paint bucket and make it black. I'm going to grab a white brush, not too big, and I'm basically going to have just the tub in my view, and I'm going to make my baby appear, my little baby wolf. So I'm looking for the edges of my image, so obviously the edges of his outfit or shoulder, but I'm also looking for the natural shadows that come with him, and I'm trying to brush out far enough that I get to have those original shadows in my composite to make it look more realistic. And you can see here, if you look at the original image, there are shadows in this fur that are naturally there. So I'm going to use that to my advantage and do these broader, bigger brush strokes to get those shadows in my finished photograph. Again, here's why we need the leg room. You can do a soft brushing transition here. I'm going to go a little bigger for this side. This side has the most shadows. So I'm going to brush nice and wide and grab the shadows. Here's his ear. I'll grab a smaller brush. Let's find the top of that bonnet. Again, this is why headroom is important. Just makes it an easier transition. And then I will brush his ear and the shadows with that pretty much to the top of the bucket, and then with the rest of it, I'll do that really detailed brush work to make sure that it looks good. So here we are. I've basically drawn him in with an outline so that I get the edge of him and all those beautiful shadows that naturally are in my original photograph. So now I'm going to show you two things in Photoshop that are absolutely awesome, and I think they're so fun. So here we go. I'm just going to go for it. When you're doing brushwork, you can click on the mask and hit the backslash key, and this will bring up what I like to call the red mask. I don't know the technical term, but it helps you to see where you have brushed and where your image isn't showing. So this is great to help guide your eye as to where you still need to do some finishing brushwork. But my absolute favorite way to do really great, like exact brushwork, is to hold down the Alt key and then hit the mask. And it brings up a black and white mask. So for me, this is so much easier to read than the red mask, especially because if you're dealing with red or even pink tones from skin or clothing or backdrop fur, it's really hard to read that red mask when there's actually red tones underneath it. You just can't see it. So this way, you can see absolutely everything. And you can see all these gray spots where, because I'm brushing with a large, fluffy, soft edge brush, that it's not 100% revealed in these parts. So my picture isn't all the way revealed. It's going to be like kind of fuzzy. So I will just keep my white brush going and get rid of all those gray spots. Make sure. I like to zoom out and sometimes just move the picture around and see if any gray spots appear for me. This looks pretty good. So to release the mask, I'm going to hit the backslash key, or you can also hit Alt and click in the mask again. So now I'm going to come up here and do this fine work around his ear. I'm going to grab my white brush to reveal his ear and try to find the edge of his ear and just a little bit of the white fur that he was laying on. Just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to switch to my black brush, and I'm going to come in here and get right next to the fibers of that yarn so that it looks like that ear really was resting on this bucket and on these furs that are part of the digital composite that are sticking out, because fur flies in, all sorts of directions. I'm considering actually adding hair gel to some of my furs to get them to stay where I want. That's so silly. I've never done it, but okay. So I'm doing this really detailed work here to bring these edges just nice and tight and crisp. So I'm going to just do a little detail working here around the top. So one thing to consider, I shoot all of my digital files at 7.1. So everything is in focus. So if you're going to be photographing a baby to insert into a digital composite, you should be shooting that at f7 or a similar aperture to whatever your digital background is. I didn't do that in this case. I just wanted to show you something on this cute new background, and this old photo from 2016 just happened to be so cute with the ears kind of mimicking the trees, and it was the right color and the gray was so cute. So I do have a little bit of a depth of field issue here that normally I wouldn't deal with, or you wouldn't want to deal with, because you'd be more careful when taking your photograph so that there wasn't this depth of field issue. So in this example, just kind of ignore that and plan to shoot the images for your digital files at a very high aperture so everything is in focus. Okay, so I've got his ear brought in. Now I'm going to do my favorite trick again and see everything that I have missed before I call this one quits. You can either hit the backslash key to view the red mask, or again, my favorite, Alt and click inside the black mask, and there's my black and white mask. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? This is so fun. I love how this mask shows you everything. You cannot go wrong with your brushing here. You can become like the best brusher in the world when you know how to use these masks. So here, I didn't know that I had missed this little bit. So I'm using my black brush to grab it. Just gonna peek over here. Okay, that looks good. And, oh, wrong thing. Edit, undo. I was going to hit the X button to change from my black brush to a white brush. So X. And then I'm just gonna grab some of this and brush in all of his little wolf ear that I didn't know I was even missing. How cool is that? This is so fun. I love doing digital composites. It really is fun and doesn't take that long. So I'll go ahead and click off. Let's back up here and see how we've done with our quick placement. So there we go, on and off, on and off, on and off. I am super happy with this, especially because the shadowing came into play for my original photo. So I don't have to do any custom shadowing to make this work. I could zoom in here and spend all day doing fine detail work to blend the fur from my original photograph into the fur of the digital photograph, again, because the digital is 100% in focus, and this was shot with a little bit, actually quite a lot of depth of field. So I could do some custom brush work to make those transitions a little bit better, especially if the customer were to purchase this image. But even if you just want to drag and drop and do some quick brushing so that you can get some digital composites into your gallery and add it as purchase options, you can do it quick and easy. And then if they purchase, go back in and do that fine brush work so that everything is just right. So the last thing that I want to leave you with is this. Before you shoot for a digital composite, you need to study the lighting pattern. Here you can see, and I always tend to do this, I photograph from the upper left corner and it goes down to the bottom right corner. And you can see that as the light is over here, the scarf is highlighted on this side nice and bright, the fur on the edge here is nice and bright, and then all my shadows end up on this side of the bucket. So when you go and place your baby and are maneuvering the baby or your light position, you need to make sure that that light is coming from the exact same way, from left to right, so that those natural shadows will be in the correct place. So that's one thing that makes this so much easier. Study the lighting pattern and shoot appropriately for it, including the lighting pattern and the aperture, so that they will match. So I'm going to come back with another video to help you learn how to do composites when it's not this easy. Sometimes a little custom shadowing is needed to help your image look like it fits into the digital photograph. And that's just a little bit more advanced and takes some more time. So here's the quick and easy way so you can have some courage to try a digital backdrop in the next days or weeks to come. And I will be back with some more detailed, really important information about other ways to do these digital composites. Until then, have a great one. Bye!